We're live.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Good.
Oh, we haven't done this before.
We've never done this before.
It's cool.
I
First
love
time.
it. I love it.
And we're talking about something very controversial, something that everyone talks about. and
People get a bit
thinks all the
sensitive
time.
about this topic.
Yeah, there's two camps.
Yeah.
Alcohol.
Before we get going, please tell everyone how ironic it is that you and I are doing this Jeff Ed.
I barely even drink. I don't even like it.
Hardly drink.
No. Do you know, when I went to Stellenbosch in first year, I went to study winemaking.
Shut the front door.
I promise you. Because my parents like romanticized it and said I'm going to marry a wine farmer and then they can retire on the farm with us. And then we had these wine tasting practicals and I was like, what is this stuff? It tastes terrible.
Oh no.
And then after my first year I changed to just a BSc. So
yeah, I think to be a winemaker you kind of have to like wine.
Yeah. But what would be your drink of choice if you did drink something?
If I were to drink, it's going to be a glass of bubbly.
Okay.
It's small. Did you see how it's small? And it's bubbly. I don't know. I like sparkling water, so I think it makes
refreshing
sense.
stuff.
Yeah, it's refreshing. It's light. You can't drink too much of it. I don't think you can. But hey, that's just me. Yourself?
It used to be GMTs
Yeah.
that I've gone off those, and now probably just red wine if I did have something.
Nice.
So we are here to set the example. Be like us who barely drink.
No, guys, seriously, there's no judgment, and we just have to say from the get-go, there is no right or wrong here. You know, at the end of the day, we're not here to demonize alcohol. We're not here to try and convert you. We're just here to share information. Enlighten you, educate you, empower you, and what you do with that information, that's you, that's your choice. Yeah.
If you've got the knowledge, then you can make the best decisions.
Absolutely.
And this is, I read that like humans have been fermenting various things for thousands and thousands of years.
I thought it was the Irish, and it's not.
No.
It was
Japanese or something?
Chinese.
Yeah.
The Chinese fermented alcohol first.
But since then, there's been debates of whether it's beneficial or not.
Yeah.
And I think it all comes down to the dose, how much we have.
Absolutely.
But you pointed out something interesting of what chronic drinking means.
Yeah, because I think there's this understanding or I don't know, expectation that if you're drinking once in a blue moon, we've got to define what chronic is, right? So, you know, that's understanding of what that word chronic means to understand whether you're a chronic drinker or not. Yeah.
And I guess compared to taking chronic medication, it's not something you do once in a while. You do it daily, but small amounts, but for the long term.
Yeah.
So even a drink a night for a couple of weeks or months or years is chronic drinking.
Yeah,
and
chronic drinking.
That can have negative side effects.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think, so we drink alcohol and there's obviously ethanol in alcohol in various forms, different drinks, but it's not that's the problem. It's what it gets metabolized into. These two toxic compounds, very scientific, we don't have to go into that, but it's those things that are actually, it's poison. It's poisonous to us, and that's what gives us that drunk feeling, and that's what makes us feel super nauseous if we have too much of it. So our bodies can't actually do anything with it, so we've just got to process it as fast as possible and get it out as fast as possible.
Absolutely.
Because it can't be stored and used for anything.
And speaking about that, often people refer to alcohol as having empty calories, and it really just refers to the fact that your body has no actual nutritional use for alcohol. It's not drawing any nutrients from it. It's
no
not.
Vitamins,
there's no vitamins, no minerals. There's no fiber. You get in, you get out. It gets in, it gets out.
The interesting thing about that, you are still taking in calories, but there's nothing attached to them for us to use, which is why our bodies then go in search of the nutrients to replace those empty calories, and that's why you might find that you eat a lot when you've had something to drink.
Because your body is still working, the insulin is still spiking, blood sugars are going up.
It's like, hey, you put calories in, but I've got nothing from it.
Yeah, so we need it still. So
and
yeah,
then we go and look for it.
Absolutely, so interesting, man. Love it.
And it can drop your blood sugar. Having a couple of drinks can cause a crash in your blood sugar, and that's also why we're going to turn to the carby, sugary things to try and give ourselves a lift. I definitely would eat more snacks and chips at a social event if I had a couple of drinks.
100%. Talking about social, we've got some people here to say hello to.
We haven't even said hello. We've been so absorbed by
We're so thick in this topic.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, guys. There's so many of you. We haven't even said hello yet. Sorry.
Kath Herman's not one drop of alcohol in more than 10 years. It's a way of life.
Wow, Kath.
Wine was her passion. Yeah, wine and food.
Wow.
Definitely go well together.
And Kath is a foodie, so that doesn't surprise me. But I'm very impressed. Really, I can't say that. I mean, I don't drink often, but I'm not completely sober. That's amazing. Wow.
And we've got Valencia.
Hi, Valencia.
Tennille, Liesel, and then some Facebook users who can't see who you are. Hi, beauties.
Hello, Liesel. Hi, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Whether you're watching this live with us or you're on catch-up, please pop your questions in the comments. We'll do the best to answer as much as we can. If we don't know the answer, we will own it. And we'll get back to you. We'll find it for you, absolutely.
Let us know if you have a drink of choice. And if you are doing sugar-free sober September,
are you doing?
I'm not strictly, no. But it's a good.
But on the sugar side.
What?
No.
No. That's also I don't do too much of that anyway.
Okay.
So it's a good challenge to set for yourselves, just so you can feel how you feel without it.
And I think that's the key message that Adrian and Kathleen had behind this challenge for September, is that it's not to create this sense of all or nothing, but just to make people aware and cognizant of how reliant we are on these things.
Yeah.
You know?
They're just a part of our lives. You know, my dad, I mean, I wouldn't say, every night he'll have wine with dinner and then maybe a whiskey when he's sitting on the couch.
He's a typical South African.
Yeah, typical dad in his 60s. And I don't know how we got to the topic, but I said to him, I bet you can't stop drinking. And he's like, I bet you I can. And so he did. He stopped drinking for about 3 months, just nothing.
Wow.
And he takes blood pressure and cholesterol pills.
Yeah.
And every Saturday, I got him to prick his finger to take those readings, and I plotted graphs. And he could stop his pills. His blood pressure turned to completely normal. His cholesterol dropped just from
And the only thing he changed was the alcohol.
Yeah.
Food didn't change.
Yeah.
He didn't shift the amount of exercise he was doing.
And he lost about 6 kilos just from cutting out alcohol.
Nothing else changed.
No.
So there were no outlying, like outside factors.
No.
Wow.
It was amazing. So that just shows you the huge effect that it can have on your health.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Sure.
To see that firsthand.
Wow. And I love how, do you guys love how like extra Toni is? She's such a scientist. She's like plotting a graph and making his prick his finger and testing his blood. I love it.
It helps that he's a pharmacist, so he had those things to do that with.
Yes. A little science project.
So when it comes to exercise, I'd say that's more your.
Well, I mean, geez, guys, I'm not an expert in terms of alcohol and exercise, but I can tell you something now that we know for a fact that when we've been drinking, things are a little bit delayed. Our cognitive function is delayed. Our hand-eye coordination is a bit delayed. Reaction time is slower, and it impacts. Toni had the funniest analogy earlier. She was telling me like, yeah, imagine trying to do like having a couple of drinks and trying to do a box jump, like.
Yeah, because your depth perception and knowing when to lift your legs to jump.
The speed at which you got trying to get your feet up onto that box would be distorted. You'd miss the box. You'd fall. I know that's quite an extreme example, but even just that's why when you're walking, if you've had a bit too much to drink, you feel a bit sort of like you're like on a ship. Yeah. So you're swinging from side to side. You're floating. Hand-eye coordination is impaired as well.
And all of those things are super important no matter what activity you're doing. If you're playing golf or basketball, just a workout, you need those functions to be performing like they should.
Absolutely. Judgment is impaired, things slow down, and when you're active, no matter what activity you're doing, I mean, as Toni says, it's super important to have. You need your hand-eye coordination game strong. You need to be able to your functioning needs to be top of game. You need to be optimizing and maximizing on that movement. So yeah, we need to just make sure that when we're drinking alcohol, we're not physically doing anything that's going to basically put us in harm's way or set us up for failure. Another thing to remember, that when you're exercising, I don't know if you guys know this, but when you exercise, your muscles are actually tearing and repairing. I don't know if you are aware of that, but on an actual sort of muscle fiber level, when you exercise, the muscles tear and then they repair and they tear and repair. And that's how we grow lean, beautiful, strong muscles. And the hormone that the body releases to help with that tear and repair is the growth hormone that naturally occurs in your body. When you drink alcohol, the synthesis, protein synthesis activation, hormonal reaction that happens in the body is hindered or prevented. So if you're going to have a big boozy night and the next day you go and work out, you might find that next day or even late that day, you're super sore after that workout. You feel super sluggish. You might not even have been able to get as much out of the workout as you normally would, and that's possibly due to the alcohol intake from the day before or the night before.
I think another reason for that is because it's this toxic compound that we're ingesting. That's what our body's going to prioritize to process that. So hormone production, muscle protein synthesis, digestion, so absorption of nutrients, all of that is going to take the back seat to just process alcohol and get it out of our systems.
Absolutely. And like on a sort of cognitive level as well, I don't think we touched on this too much, is that if you suffer from anxiety or if you find that you're a highly anxious person, like me, I don't know if you are, but I'm highly strung on a good day. Alcohol is not great for me on that level because it actually makes you more anxious, and actually has led to an increase in depression in some people as well. So if you're an anxious person, drinking alcohol is only going to make you more anxious.
Exaggerate and aggravate.
But it absolutely exacerbates it, 100%.
What about like the social aspects of drinking? Because I've got clients that come from very social communities, these little communities, and that's what they do. They get together on their boats on the weekend and they just drink. Oh my gosh,
invite us.
Sounds fun.
Invite me.
Yeah. So how do we get around that? Or like celebrations, birthdays, Christmases, where it does play such a central role.
I mean, look, facts are facts. Alcohol is poison. You're putting in your body. Too much of a good thing is bad. We know these things, and it's important to know it. But at the end of the day, I do think it does also come down to balance. Yeah. And as long as you're mindful and you're trying to also balance your alcohol intake with water intake as well. It's something I say to my clients all the time. I actually have this rule. I don't know how many of them actually follow it because I'm not with them all the time, but I'm hoping they do put it into practice. Finish your first glass of alcohol. You cannot go to glass number 2 unless you've had a glass of water first.
Yeah.
So alternate. It's not always easy.
Exercise is going to dehydrate you. If you're then drinking throughout the week, you can just if water is already not a strong suit of yours, exercise is going to further dehydrate you. Then you're drinking alcohol. You are basically like, I don't know, like a sandpaper person crawling throughout the desert, a camel looking for water. Not enough water, exercise, and alcohol. You're dehydrating your cells. You're dehydrating your muscles. So make sure that you're prioritizing that water intake. It's super important. And I think like with anything, with exercise, with food, you've got to identify what your relationship with this thing is. Like, what is alcohol? What role is it playing in your life? What is it doing for you? Are you using it to relax after a stressful day? Are there other things you can do instead? Are you using it to have some confidence in a social setting, to escape your problems? I don't know. You want to be in a healthy space with this thing, whatever it might be for you, and always tackle it with other stuff first, and then as a last resort, I would say.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a study done. I don't have any of the facts on hand, obviously, typical me. But there was a study done. Toni and I were listening to a podcast the other day about this very topic, and they were talking about how. So we all know that when you drink alcohol, your inhibitions are lowered, right? You would do things and say things that you probably wouldn't normally do if you were of sound mind. And what they've actually found after a long period of time of continuously drinking chronically over weeks, months, years, that not only are they seeing the increase in people lowering their inhibitions when they're under the influence of alcohol, but there's been a strong positive correlation. People then, even when they're sober, their inhibitions are lowered as well. So that I found that was quite interesting.
I guess
that it
becomes
affects.
like a way of life. Then,
Yeah.
that you just,
Your inhibitions are lowered even when you're sober. So yeah.
And that comes back to food as well. If you might be on the straight and narrow, trying to do really well, eat really well, and then you have a couple of drinks, lose all inhibitions, and then you're more likely to go for that fast food or eat a whole pizza that you might not normally do without it.
Absolutely.
And there's a comment here saying that she'd love to chat to us about how she gave up drinking after many years of partying and lots of alcohol. 4 years in, no booze.
Lauren, you
But she
biscuit.
found that when she stopped drinking, she started suffering from anxiety, which is interesting. So that was a bit of a coping mechanism in.
Yeah, possibly. Geez, Lauren, thanks so much for sharing. That's really brave, and thank you for being so vulnerable. Love to chat to you more about that. That's amazing.
And well done. 4
Yeah,
years is
well
a long
done.
time.
It is a long time. Jeez. 4 years, Lauren, 10 years, Kath. Goodness gracious me. Guys, and I just want to say it again. I said it just as we started. We're not here to demonize alcohol. We are just stating facts. We're not expecting everyone to now all of a sudden never drink alcohol again. All we're trying to do is just empower you with information to make the best choices you can under the circumstances. Let's chat a little bit more about those sort of practical things that you can put in place, like we touched on now. So, making sure that you have a glass of alcohol, have a glass of water, you're alternating between the two. What are some of the other things that we can look at doing as well?
Well, at least for me, like being social is not about the drinking. It's about having a drink in your hand. So we're being social with our coffee. So
this is coffee.
There's no sneaky anything in here. Well, my parents would call it a bush coffee and put amarula in there.
I love that.
But I think as long as you're holding something in your hand, whether it's water or like a jazzed up sparkling water with berries and mint, like make it exciting for yourself. But then you'll feel like you're taking part and nobody will be any wiser.
Absolutely.
I always do that. Like
absolutely.
Nice little bitters.
Oh, yum.
And some goodies in there, and it feels like a cocktail, but it's just water. We had some other tips. So stay hydrated. We've covered that.
Yes.
And then serving sizes or portion sizes. Like think about some of the wine glasses that you get in restaurants.
Sure.
They want like fish
like a
bowls.
goblet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good.
You think you're having one glass of wine, but you're probably having three. So just check have a smaller glass.
Yeah.
To
correct me if I'm wrong. A glass of wine is supposed to be 120 ml, 125,
140, I think.
140 ml.
Yeah. So that would be considered one unit, one drink.
Great. Which is technically, in terms of measuring cups in the kitchen, that's half a cup.
Yeah.
Half a measuring cup. Half a cup in terms of the kitchen measuring is a glass of wine. So just to put it into perspective.
And actually, that's quite a little bit if you were to put that in a glass.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot. And we often say, in terms of, Jeff, we really are advocating balance here, and that's what we want to do. We don't want to say you must never drink alcohol again. You're going to be drinking alcohol, and that's cool. Just be mindful of your portions.
And decide how many drinks you want to have before you go out. Because once you start drinking, it's easier to say yes to another round.
As those inhibitions drop, right?
Yep.
As those inhibitions drop.
And on rounds, often when you're drinking in a group and someone's like, I'll get the first round, then you've got to keep up with how everyone's drinking in that group. And when everyone's finished, then you're expected to have your next round. So don't drink in rounds, drink at your own pace.
Absolutely.
So that you're not drinking too fast.
Absolutely. Sure. Any other questions, guys? Oh, Coach Jax is here. She says, what is happening? Judy says, great idea to alternate. Absolutely, Judy. I say that to my clients all the time. The rule is finish whatever you've got, have a glass of water, and then go on to the next one. And you'll actually find that you will drink less. A lot of the time, because our brains sometimes confuse hunger and thirst, you might actually be a little bit dehydrated already. So having that second glass, you might
You're filling your tummy.
You're filling your tummy, so you're soothing that potential hunger cravings or hydration issues, but actually you're just leaving yourself more dehydrated, so you're going to have another one, when in actual fact you should maybe just be having a glass of water.
And there's that saying, I broke the seal.
Oh.
You know that first time you need to go to the bathroom when you've been drinking, and then you say, I shouldn't have done that, because then you just go and go and go. But that is because alcohol interferes with all the hormones in urination and makes us need to go, and that's how it dehydrates you. So topping up with some water in between is important.
Absolutely, because I mean, what goes out or what goes in must go out. But if you are constantly going to the loo and you're not topping up with water,
and you're going to excrete extra water from your cells to help with processing
because you're dehydrated
and toxic compounds. It's interesting. What else? We'll eat a balanced meal, obviously, before you start.
Absolutely.
Because if there is something in your tummy, it's just going to make it a little bit. You're not going to get drunk as fast, and you're putting food in so that you're less likely to also overeat when those urges come. What else have we got? We've spoken about relationship with alcohol, and I think you've got to also weigh up the benefit versus the risk. It's going to look different for everybody. So a pregnant woman, obviously the risk is high. Don't drink alcohol. But maybe for an elderly person who is in good health and is going to drink the odd glass of red wine, that could have beneficial effects. It can be slightly protective.
Yeah.
So then the benefit maybe outweigh the risk there.
It's not a one size fits all. It really, really isn't. And I mean, even myself, as we mentioned earlier, neither Toni nor I are the biggest of drinkers. But if I'm at a wedding, for example, or like a very special occasion, I probably would drink a lot for me. I'd have 2, 3, 4 glasses of whatever's going. Or when I'm on holiday with family and friends. Because sometimes it's also about creating memories and making special memories and sharing moments with loved ones. Because that's what life's about, right? And we don't want you guys obsessing. And this is what I say to my clients often. Moderation with everything. Your alcohol consumption, your food consumption. But don't get it to a point, just as chronic alcohol consumption or binge eating is harmful, so is obsessing over it and constantly thinking about portions and food and how much you're drinking. Sometimes it's also just good to just be in the moment and share a moment and make a memory with a loved one, whilst having that mindfulness in the background.
Yeah, totally. And I like to remind my clients that whenever we get together with people, we're not getting together for the food, we're not getting together for the drinks.
No.
We're getting together to connect and catch up and chat and laugh and form new memories. The food and the drinks are just there along for the ride. So you have a couple to cheers a glass and then balance it out with some other stuff. Jax says she's not a wine girl, but she tops up with ice and soda water, because then you can drink 4 glasses of something, but you're actually only having 2 glasses of wine.
I love that. Spritzer?
Wine spritzer.
Isn't it a white wine spritzer?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm guessing that would be white wine. I mean, you're not going to put that with red wine, but I mean, that's so smart, Jax.
It's nice on a summer's day.
I have a client who does that. She pours herself a glass of wine and literally just ice. And as the ice melts, I mean, the ice is going to melt faster than what you're drinking it.
Yeah.
It ends up becoming this big, beautiful glass, and she really feels like she's participating. And as Toni said, it's about having something in your hand rather than how many you're knocking back. Are there any questions, guys? Please let us know. Can I be honest? There's so much information out there. There's so much information. I mean, we've printed notes here. There's so much information that we haven't even touched on, because there just really is just so much to talk about. So we'd love to take some questions if there are any. So if you guys have a question, just pop it through, let us know. Let us know.
Maybe from a weight loss point of view, something to also consider is the calories. We've spoken about empty calories, but what are we even looking at? Like if you went out for dinner and had 2 beers and 2 glasses of wine, that's about 600 calories just in the drinks that you've had. Then throw in your meal, and that's your full calories in a day if you are on a weight loss program. So considering that as well. It's about 70 calories in a shot of brandy or tequila or whatever you choose. And that, in Jeff terms, that's a portion. Like you can eat a banana or a slice of bread or something for that one little shot of liquid. So yeah, we don't want to obsess over that stuff, but it's just good to keep it in
Good
mind.
to know, knowledge is power.
And then adding sugary mixes to those things, that's really where we've run into trouble.
Absolutely. I mean, when I've had a G&T is always great in summer with the girls. I always think G&Ts with my girlfriends, out at a beautiful restaurant somewhere right on the ocean. But for me, I think it's important to then pair it with like a sugar-free tonic or mixer. So if you're going to go gin and tonic, single gin, sugar-free tonic, and it just lightens the impact.
Yeah, do what you can you're still enjoying the drink, but you're doing what you can, like with Jax's tip about the soda water and the wine.
Absolutely.
You're just making it go further, I suppose.
Absolutely. But yeah, guys, I think that, just to sort of wrap up, in terms of weight loss, a lot of people will say, geez, but I'm eating so healthily, I'm being mindful. On the weekends, I'm enjoying a little bit of the soul foods and having a bit of that flexibility, which is important. But I can't understand why I'm not seeing the results. Go look at the alcohol consumption, because it creeps up really, really quickly. I mean, Tony's saying that a tot of alcohol is 70 calories. One beer is how much?
We had 154. So two Jeff portions in a 330ml can of beer. And how easy is it actually to finish a bottle of wine?
It's very easy. It's very easy.
So yeah,
it's very easy. I mean, think about it. I mean, most people can have a bottle of wine a night. So if one bottle of wine is, I've literally got it here. Sorry, guys.
A glass.
Well, a glass, 150 mils is 125 calories, 120 calories. A bottle we're talking about is almost 400 calories. Yeah. So a bottle of wine is 400 calories.
And that's a meal, an entire meal in that bottle of wine.
So it's good to know, so that you can also prepare. Like Tony said, when you're going to go out, whether it's out for drinks or out for dinner or going to someone's house or something, know ahead of time what you're committing to, but also knowing what that impact will have on your journey. And it's ebb and flow,
And what I definitely wouldn't do it all the time, because food first, like all the time. So say you had a dinner function, make sure your lunch is spot on so that you've nourished throughout the day. And then what you could do is drop a carb portion, drop a fat portion from your dinner. So you're still going to have a really good meal.
Yeah.
You're just dropping a few things to give yourself a bit of a buffer if you know it's going to be a particularly busy night. But
absolutely,
for the most part, don't take food away.
Food first.
Yeah. Don't sacrifice your food for a drink.
Absolutely. That's a great tip, actually. Just be mindful. Make your choices. Eliminate to, it's all about moderation, man. Balance.
I think, who's this? Get sulfite-free wine, doesn't mess with that gut bacteria as badly.
Hey, Jax got all the tips and tricks here.
Sulfite-free wine also it's not supposed to give you as many, a headache and a hangover the next day. I don't know.
I didn't even know you got sulfite-free wine.
Because some people are allergic to that.
Oh, of course.
White wine gives me a blocked nose as soon as I drink it, and I think it's the sulfur in it.
Oh my gosh. Well, there you go, guys. Get sulfite-free wine, and it also doesn't impact the good gut bacteria as much.
Yes.
There we go. A little tip from Coach Jax. Thanks, Jax.
Thanks, Jax. So if you guys have any other questions, pop it in the comments, and we'll keep an eye on them and get back to you with anything. But if you want to chat more, then you know where to find us.
Absolutely. So, guys, in conclusion, alcohol is not the enemy. What you are doing with the alcohol, how you are choosing to consume alcohol and make it part of your life, that is ultimately up to you. You're not a victim to it. It is a choice. Make good choices, and just remember.
And you be in control.
You are in control. Absolutely.
And I think that's us.
That's it.
Thanks for joining us. Oh, Debs. Hello, Debs.
Hi, Debs. Thanks for the chat, you two beautiful ladies. Oh, right back at ya.
Thanks for joining us, and have a happy Wednesday. We're halfway through the week.
Cheers, guys.
Variations and static squats, farm loading type variations. 3, 2, 1, time on.